Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to Ensk in the AT-15. This is a replay that was sent to me on replays.wolf.co.uk after I asked for various replays to look into and commentate on. It was sent by a gentleman named BK, which is what I will call him for this replay. And he basically said it was his first attempt at winning a Kolobanov's medal situation. I haven't seen this game yet, I have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to take you through it, explain what's good, what's bad, what the enemy could have done better, what BK could have done better, and we'll see how he gets on. Now, you've got to feel blessed to be in... do you feel blessed to be in an AT-15 on Ensk? What am I immediately thinking? Well, you have to be aware when you are playing British titties that you've got your top hat. Be awfully uncivilized to go out without your top hat, and the top hat in terms of these British titties is the good old cupola that plagues them all. Here on the AT-15, that is about 127 millimeters, like between these guns here. On the outside, it can go up to 200 millimeters plus, can be very jolly if you hit here. You want to hit between these guns, and you're going through every time, assuming you have like 140 plus millimeters of pen. That said, it does have other cupolas as well. These tiny ones here and here can be considered weak spots, I guess, but they're 200 millimeters around there of armor. And at that point, if you've got 200 millimeters of pen, where can you shoot on an AT-15? Anywhere on the upper plate. Basically, anywhere here apart from this area, you can pen with 200 plus millimeters of pen, more than a 50% likelihood. Other weak spot to be aware of is, look at that booty. This plate here is 76 millimeters, 76.2 millimeters of armor. Ain't that smexy? But one thing that I like immediately, look at this map. And I've talked about this before. It's about weak spot concealment. If you spawn in a vehicle, and your political weak spot, the weak spot that everyone around you is aware of, is on the right side of your tank, you want the majority of the map to be on the right side of you. Why is that? Well, that's because, logically, more cover is going to be available for you to hide your weak spots as you progress the game. Think, if we spawned on the right side here, we're working out on the field for some reason, we can now no longer go up to this building and conceal our biggest weak spot, because we're fighting around the opposite corner. So that's what I immediately realised spawning south here is, yes, I get to go into the town, the majority of the map is going to be on the same side as my cupola, so it favours me just from a tactical standpoint. Ain't that nice? Now, gun performance, we got 12 rounds per minute, 226 millimeters of base pen with AP here, 258 with premium, not a huge jump in pen for premium shells. Got 42 millimeters of HE pen, 230 average damage, going up to 280 with the pen. And he is in a bit of a clusterfunk of people here. You're going to be feeling confident about pushing forward and dealing some damage here, surely. You're powerful, hit pool, and armor. Like the AT-15 has got 1,450 hit points. That's a huge amount for a tank destroyer, and it's what these TDs are known for. Taking a bit of damage on the cross there, not the end of the world. I like approaching this corner. We'll have to see if he uses the 25-degree gun arc to left and right, and he's hiding his cupola absolutely beautifully here. Got a base reload of, I believe, 4.79 rounds per minute. And you can be really aggressive here. I don't like you poked a little far around that corner for my liking. Should be concealing. Yeah, for my money, that Cromwell, maybe not the Cable Earth, but the Cromwell has a shot at the cupola. That's a little bit of an overstep, but reversing now to compensate. And does get a kill shot into the KV-1S, as I say. 230 alpha damage, and we've got, what, 0.30 accuracy. Very accurate gun. I mean, the British TDs, say what you want about them, but they've never been lacking in the gun performance department. 0.3 accuracy, 4.79 base reload, and a 1.7 second aim time. Yes, you pay a price in lack of mobility and flexibility, but my god, the gun is powerful, and you are seeing a lot of aggression here, which is absolutely fantastic when you're top tier in a powerful TD, when you can blow, which you absolutely can, in this tank. This is really good to see. For some reason, T-29 loading HE, perhaps connecting with the space armor of the gun mantlet there, not doing any damage whatsoever. That gentleman could easily append the AT-15 there if he just aimed at the big old cupola weak spot with his 198mm of base pen. Alright, well, at this point, I'm rather surprised that this game ends up being tense. I'm told it's going to end up being tense, but I'm rather shocked by that, given the circumstances, although the enemy is enforcing pressure over base. Now, at this point, you always have a decision to make. And this is a conjecture that I've expanded upon before. People have asked me a question, hey, should I go back to base or should I attack the enemy base? And of course, I can never answer that question with any degree of specificity, purely because it's not a situation. It is entirely situational all the time. One's going to be long, one's going to be light. However, if you go back and defend your base, and it turns out that you weren't needed, the game still goes on. Right? If you attack the enemy base, and it turns out you were needed, then you've lost. So, generally speaking, 60 to 70% of the time, I will favour going back to base in a situation like this, because even if I'm not needed, I'm still alive, game's still going on, I'm in a secure position that I can work outwards, basically like when you started the game, right? And with a 20 degree a second transverse speed, 20 kilometers an hour forward, 10 in reverse, the decisions you make in terms of movement and positioning in a tank like an AT-15, it will dictate how you perform in this vehicle. And it's without question at this point that the aggression of both BK here and the team in the town is the only reason they are still in contention here. Perhaps recognizing a weakness or that they were losing on the 9-0 line and pushing forward, trying to capitalize on their numerical advantage that they had on the town. And they did that quickly enough, but the enemy's assault from the 890 line probably isn't going to be quite swift enough that they can capitalize on it. Now, we could look. Is this looking really odd to anyone else? This T-34-1 seems to have been doing a weird dance with the S-51 for the past minute or so, which seems very odd to me, but maybe I haven't been paying attention. So anything that we can pick up on here, nothing more than what I immediately said. Go back, deal with the cap, and then you can choose how to work out again. But yeah, our team is dropping like flies, and at this point, if you know the circumstance is looking like, okay, I'm going to soon be outnumbered in a very inflexible tank, you've got to try and assert yourself. What I would be doing right now is I would be going here because it cuts off the line of the Astron Rex, right? And I would try and probably take out the Pangelo. He's the more important tank. Why would I go for the Pangelo? Well, I'd go up here, go for the Pangelo. Why? Because that would encourage the Commonwealth to come behind me, and at that point he gets killed by the KV-85, right? So I would position here both as protection from that, bait for this guy, and focus on this guy. That would be my plan right now. So I would not be going round this corner due to the potential crossfire of the Astron Rex, the T-34-1, the Porlick tank. I believe this is incredibly poor positioning by BK here, and exposing himself to the Pangelo on the side. This is absolutely awful work right there. Really poor way to attack that cap circle in my mind. We shall see. Pajero. I think if the Pajero had kept going there, I've had a better result. But, chasing the Pajero, the Astron was very exposed and killing your last remaining teammate. I would have focused the Astron even to take him, even if I didn't kill him, take him out of the engagement against the KVA-5. And at this point, you can't wait here, right? You've got to try and assert yourself somehow, because right now, it's a 1v2. In less than 30 seconds, it's going to be a 1v5. Because the Porlac tank, the SP1C, the T-34-1 are all going to get involved in this as well. So what would I do in this circumstance? It's really difficult. These kind of tanks, I can't make an engagement here. The only thing I could hope is that Pajero fucks up his driving as I go around here. I've got to assume at this point that Astron, after killing that KV-85, is potentially reloading, but he may have 2 shells left, just saving them for my booty. But at this point, what I think I would be forced to do is, I see this wreck behind GW Panther. I would reverse back into this corner and at least cut off as many ways for the enemy to approach me as possible. It makes it a tad difficult for them, right? They can't really pressure the cap while I'm in that position. Approaching is dangerous from either side. It might give me the best chance. Otherwise, I really can't see a way out of this right now. We'll see what happens. Is this Pajero gonna make a misstep? Oh, please no. That is really foolish gameplay by that guy. I would have been reluctant to plow as far forward as I could there. The Astron Rex, one of the memey things about it is an incredibly good traverse speed. So that could have fucked me over. Exposing to that guy and picking up the kill, absolutely the correct thing to do, but plowing so far forward and taking a shot on the move, a little hasty in my opinion. Really poor play by both the Pajero and the Astron. If the Pajero dies in that situation, fine, he fucked up. Stay hiding, right? You're still waiting for 3 more tanks to come in and provide separate angles. Why do you go out here? Why? Why do you not just stick around this building and wait? You have the ability to just kite him all the way around this building. There is no way a tank like an AT-15 should even be in contention at this point. So really poor play from the enemy team here. Porlick, what the What? Why? Why have you done this? Okay, please. No. Okay, SP1C. Now we got... what's the... Why are you exposing? Okay, misses a shot, but we know 4.72 seconds on your load. Now, we can take 1 shot from both of these tanks, presumably. I don't believe the T-34-1 can mount a 122. What do you do in this situation? Well, back to a war. At this point, and I talked about this in relation to TD gameplay before, you want to imagine a flashlight, right, shining out of the front of your tank. And the beam of this flashlight gets wider depending on the flexibility of your tank. If you're in something like a T-30 with a fully transversable turret, then your flashlight is fairly wide. This flashlight is an indication of when you're in danger of being flanked, when you are looking at tanks that could potentially get to your sides and kill you. In the AT-15, your flashlight beam is very small. So how do we, at this point, get both of these tanks within that flashlight beam? Well, we reverse, right? We back up and try and keep them both in that line. And then, once we spy an opportunity, we maybe try and do something surprising from back here or something like that. Maybe get to cover, maybe use this original position that we had here so that they can't pressure the cab and wait for one of them to make a mistake, right? Because they are 2 shots. Honestly, if they both came in at once, if they both just decided, okay, let's go, skill him, then he loses, quite frankly. I don't think the SP1C would be fast enough to get around him before BK put 2 shots into him. I personally don't, but it wouldn't matter because it's T-34. One would be around behind him. So honestly, if they just went, they win here. Let's see. Okay. Nice tracking shot there. Not sure if it was delivering it. SP1C doesn't even want to... oh, God. It's so poor. It's so poor. Hey, look, an incredibly inflexible tank. I know, let's die to him one by one. What a bunch of muppets. Oh, clips on the clacker. Okay. Now we have an inflexible TD chasing a medium. Now, with a 20 km/h top speed, you're never going to catch this guy. And in a town environment, it's both an asset and a danger. Right? Because if he catches you up at long angle, I mean, you're both a 2-shot. Right? You can both be afforded one mistake. And what do you do at this point? Well, here's what I do. I know that I'm in a very inflexible tank. What I would elect to do at this point, I can only aim forward. I can only aim in front of my tank. The T-34-1 can sit on a corner, aiming this way and facing that way. He can take a shot and drive off before I can turn to engage him. That is a horrific danger for me, because it gives him an inherent advantage in this hidey, pokey, seeky engagement, right? So what I would want to do is to reduce the chance of that happening. And how do I do that? Well, I go here. I go to the 1 line. Why? Because the closer I am to the edge of the map, the less angles I have to worry about finding the unexpected enemy tank. We know that our gun traverse is 40.25. We know that we can aim 25 degrees to the left or right. If I'm going out the 1 line, I only have to worry about this hole, this hole, this hole. If I'm going up here, I have to worry about this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole. Like, there's so many angles that I'd have to worry about. So I would heavily consider at this point going up the 1 line if I was wanting to make my way to the enemy cap circle. But there's disadvantages with that in the time spent as well. We've got to remember, the further we get away from our own cap circle, and you can see him looking left and right as he moves out there, it's so dangerous to be pursuing a turreted tank in a vehicle like an AT-15, which is why I'm feeling really uncomfortable watching this gameplay because of the positioning. We shall see. Is he gonna pop up? Now, as I say, the time-consuming element of going down the 1 line has got to be a concern. If he pops up in our base just before we get into his, there's certainly potential that we might have trouble getting back. Although Ensk being only 600 meters and mostly hard terrain, I imagine that we'd be able to get ourselves back. I'm noticing that BK here has modified config, doesn't have improved hardening, it would seem, and also doesn't have a turbocharger on this vehicle. He's been going limited to 20, as you'd expect on a turbocharger-less tank. Now, as we come out into the field here, possibly bears mentioning that we got 370 meters of view range, so it's unlikely that the T-34-1 can do anything cheeky out in the field there. Now, you've got to be feeling tense at this point, but the positioning is nice. Back to a oh, okay, very aggressive by this guy, and for some reason firing HE. Drive to the wall. The second you saw him coming in, the second he got to here, you got a 4.79 base reload. You know he's going to get around you. You know you can't stop that. You also know you can attack at least 1 shell. You should have been driving the second you saw him to the map border, into the wall, into hard cover. Why? Because it means he can't flank you. It means you don't end up in this situation. If he tries to do this, when your ass is halfway in the wall, he will be stuck there and you will kill him, right? Driving to the corner as soon as you are encroached on by this guy. And right now, when I unpause this, what I want to see is you driving forward. Driving as fast forward as you can and turning your tank around. Because, frankly, at this point, the only other option is that this guy monumentally fucks up and somehow doesn't kill you. Which, frankly, I do not see how that can happen. And if we're thinking that this guy has, 180 alpha damage, you can maybe take 2 shots from him. Let's see. Drive forward, please. Oh. You know that option I was suggesting of the enemy tank monumentally fucking up? I don't... Oh my god. Ugh. Okay, to be clear, I love getting sent replays from my viewers. It's a huge compliment to me. But the way this game was played, it should never have won this. It should not have been a win. A huge amount of mistakes, but it was only eclipsed by the gargantuan fuck-ups present on the enemy team. He ends up with 9 kills, with some horrific positional play, and then feckin' sits on the last medium tank who was spamming HE up his ass. That was remarkable. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the post-battle because looking at this screen is just insulting to me. Okay, so at least this looks pretty. Ace tanker, what a wonderful sight to see. Kolobanov's medal in an AT-15. Quite frankly, I mean, do you deserve a Kolobanov's medal if you only get it because the enemy team are complete donkeys? Well, I guess yes. I mean, GG, well played, right? I don't know. Looks like the first Kolobanov's medal and the first Ladley Walters as well for 8 kills, 9 kills in total. Got a steel wall, got a Top Gun in the bargain as well. Look at that, that's a splendid game in an AT-15, absolutely splendid. It's Astron Rex picking up 20,800 damage before he made a monumentally stupid decision and potentially cost his team the game. Yeah, there's not a huge amount to talk about here. Tidy profit, which is nice. Distance travelled, not very far, but honestly, that's a decent distance from an AT-15 on Ensk. He was getting about a bit. But yes, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Continue to send me your replays on replays.wolst.co.uk because I will be doing a lot more commentary on viewer-submitted replays, just giving my thoughts and analysis of the game. Thank you very much, and farewell.
Role model, cooler than the Avengers. Humanity peaks at our community manager. He is mentally jacked and strengthening our backs just like the counterweight on the turret of the challenger. Cause if we find ourselves in a crappy mood, you will brighten our day just through your attitude. Steven and Peabody, badass crew. So please take the song.